Tupac said it best. F the fame, give me the money. But when you have the money, you need to know how to manage it.
I'm wondering if the algorithm switch that affected your channel so badly had to do with the watch time.
What does 2020 GloZell, who's now in 2009, what does she do differently when those checks start coming in?
YouTube was there when, you too big, you too tall, you too fat, doing auditions for television. And I found an audience, and the audience doesn't care what your religion is, what your ethnic, they don't care. The kids just want to laugh.
So Lars from the first podcast, he wants to know that if you were offered $2 billion, would you spend the next 4,300 years as a series of ducks?
Hey, welcome to the Create Unknown, the auditory home of the Make Something Mean Something life. We have our patrons live with us in the chat. I am Kevin Lieber, and with me, as always, is Matthew Tabor, who's about to crack open a can of Mountain Who about our
that is the
really
worst
tried
joke
to make
you've
it
made.
through that pun. I know.
This is
and I really
episode 60, and this is the worst joke you've ever made.
I know. Hey, we made it this far. I thought I could do it with a straight face, and I couldn't. That's okay. I'm going to say it again, though, just so we have it on record twice.
Please
crack
do.
open a can of Mountain Who about our legendary guest.
Well, we've been excited about this one for a lot of weeks now, and we weren't sure if it was going to happen. It is. It's happening right now. Our patrons are in the live chat for it. And we've been obsessed over talking to GloZell. A decade ago, if we chiseled a Mount Rushmore of YouTube, GloZell Green would have been the George Washington. She exploded with viral videos like "My push-up bra will help me get my man." 25 million views on that. The Cinnamon Challenge by GloZell and her big behind earrings. 57 million views. Every video was guaranteed millions of views, and I moved to the San Fernando Valley around that time. And the first time I was on Cahuenga Avenue in LA, I actually only knew the name because of a GloZell video about a car that was on fire there. She landed roles in movies like Trolls and Kevin Hart's The Wedding Ringer, and her look was so iconic that she single-handedly convinced too many girls who I dated into wearing outlandish shades of lipstick. She interviewed President Obama, and even hugged him after explicitly being instructed not to. She was making a lot of money, and she was spending a lot of money. Life was pretty good for GloZell until it wasn't. The algorithm changed, the millions of views became thousands, the thousands of dollars became pennies, her management abandoned her, she got evicted, she was sneaking food from the craft services table on shoots, and Kevin has witnessed me fill a backpack with little sandwiches courtesy of the United States Navy, so I wholeheartedly support treating those tables as an all-you-can-eat buffet. But this is what happens when you don't have a financial plan. And in her faceplant video on Million Stories, GloZell describes worrying about what was going to be in her daughter's lunchbox each day. And that's when she reinvented herself. She wiped off the lipstick, sometimes, and debuted a new venture called GloZell. She tapped deep entertainment roots to make something new and mean something new. The auditions started coming back. She got new management. Now she knows where her money's going. She saves and invests. GloZell is back, and she's here to talk to us about the highs and the lows of it all. So we'll kick this off first by turning one of GloZell's famous questions around on her. Is you okay? And can you tell us the most insane, regrettable thing that you spent money on back in the day?
Ooh, hello, this is GloZell. Is you okay? Is you good? Because I want to know. Thank you so much for having me. And wow, what an intro. That is so true. I went from being on Mount Rushmore, okay, to like, Lord, I hope they have a lot on craft services because, this is going to take care of me for this whole week. Oh. So it is crazy. Okay, so the most outlandish, well, I have done some things when you look back, you're like, wow, you spent a lot of money on like leech therapy. where you have leeches put on your
therapy?
body. And yes, and all this stuff on videos.
How much is leech therapy?
Hundreds of dollars. Hundreds of dollars. And it's a series, so it's actually, thousands. And, it's very therapeutic, and it takes out your blood. And it's just prehistoric, something different. Like when you have money, you don't know what to do with your money. You're doing crazy stuff. It makes sense at the time.
Did the leeches feel good?
No, they're biting you and taking your blood.
I was going to say, do you have to go to like a Wild West town and you meet the barber who's also the dentist who also administers the leeches, and he gives you all of this stuff, and he has a weird top hat and he's the only person in town with glasses? Is that how this works? I want to know how leech therapy works.
Like that, because, these types that do leech therapy and we're into, the earth and the magnets, they're kind of hippie-ish, kind of thing. And you're just like, fine, because I've done all the regular stuff. I'm not a regular person, so let's put leeches there everywhere. That's what I need.
Everywhere.
Do I need that? Lord. I didn't need that. I really didn't need that. But, and then I took the leeches home and they got loose, and I'm like, fine. I'm like, oh Lord, there's leeches everywhere. So,
What? Really?
Yeah. That was crazy.
You took them home? And then they escaped?
Well, they have your blood in them, so they're kind of like...
It's got to be like a biohazard,
I'm telling
right?
you don't have any sense. When you see celebrities, like even big, like way bigger than me, doing crazy things, I'm like, I get it. I understand. Like, just like you need to eat, on the moon, because it's like, well, I've eaten every place on the earth, so let me try getting on a rocket. Like that seems normal at times, So what's wrong with leeches? Like I was saying, people get dialysis, they get shots. People do a lot of things with blood, so why not leeches? It didn't seem that crazy at the time. That's one of the billions of things that I should have spent money on. So
it sounds like such an LA thing to me. Like, yes. And is that how that goes when you're in those circles? Eventually you've done all the things, and like somebody introduces you to something like leeches, and you're like, well, I got to try that.
It's like, oh my gosh, then if you try putting 14 karat gold all over your body, I have not. Girl, where do you get that? Well, like, why do I need gold on my body? What? Well, it makes no sense now when I'm like, I need food, I use gold, in my crack, like why I didn't need that.
Did you do that? Did you put gold on your body?
Yeah, I'm telling you the truth.
Like,
Kevin.
Oh my gosh. So,
I've done it all.
So how does this happen? Do you go like strip down to your underwear and then cover yourself in gold leaf for half an hour?
Yes, or longer. And I've been in oxygen chambers. So it's just so amazing what the Singleton Foundation is doing, because it's taking people, especially hopefully before they get to the outrageous things. Because that's what you want to do. You with people who are outrageous, and you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And at one point you are the Joneses. So you coming up with crazy things that your friends want to do. I was like, oh, let's just drink camel milk. Okay, let's go get that. Okay, like, why? Because everybody else drinks cow milk. We don't drink no cow milk. Or some almonds. Who gonna milk an almond? But let's get a camel. You know what I'm saying? That's $30 a bottle. And the bottle's this big, and let's take a bath in it. Like, why am I doing that? Black don't crack.
In the video that I mentioned, which we'll link to in the description, it's really a solid one that everybody should take a look at. It's about 7 minutes long. You talked about how your video started getting some views, and it was like a check for $25, and that was amazing. And then it was $25 a day, and then $100 a day, and then more. So it's not like you started out in some amazing position, right? Like you built up to a point where things were really good.
Teaching.
Okay.
Yes, money wasn't an issue, because I was teaching, and then I decided that, okay, let me pay attention to this YouTube thing. And if I'm really going to dedicate my time, then I'm not going to try to split and do teaching work and grading papers and doing this. So I let that go, and I'm building, and this is great. And then you get the big head, but you don't know you get a big head because you're going like this. It's not going zoop, zoop. You're just like, okay, I'm at the grocery store. Now, you know what? I have people, they go to the grocery store. Okay, I get my gas. Well, now other people get my gas. So I don't do those things. That's fine. Now I'm like, I have no idea what side you put the gas on. I'm sitting there like, how do I put gas in this car? Because I don't have no people no more, But oh, GloZell has a Mercedes, but I can't pay for it. I'm hiding it in different places because the repo gonna come get it. But I'm looking good when I'm driving. Hopefully that it don't stop. So it's like, it is crazy. Tupac said it best: F the fame, give me the money. So, but when you have the money, you need to know how to manage it. And that's where the Singleton Foundation comes in. And like, what's a credit score? You don't need a credit score when you have money.
Right, right. It's kind of irrelevant if you can just pay for things, right? You don't have to think a lot.
But when you can't pay for things, then a credit score. Oh, what you need? I don't think my credit score had two numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my! It's supposed to be eight something. I'm like, I think I'm in the single digits. Okay, so I'm having a little problem. I'm having a problem. So, but yes, it was really, plus added divorce, and it's just like, when it rains, it pours. And now I'm a single mom, and then I'm like, okay, trying to figure out. So yes, I was still GloZell, so I'm going places, but I know people talk about me like, what happened to the nuts? I had nuts on this table, and there was no, what happened to the cookies? They're all good. Sometimes I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna be shamed. I'm taking everything on the scrap table. Just letting you know. There you go.
It's fair game. It's fair game.
Thank you. Especially when they have fruit and bananas. I'm like, okay, that's good. Because I didn't know like how much the stuff costs. I just know that, like, thank you. It's something I don't have to buy. And I'm trying to keep the lights on, gas in the car to get to these functions where I'm on the red carpet and, borrowing dresses and everything that glitters not gold. So anyway, that's how it is. And you have so many people aspiring to be like, and jealous of where you are. I'm like, child, do you know how many times I wore these drawers? I got them right there. Like, they got holes in them. Like, so you don't know what's going on underneath this right now. So you just don't know.
In the management that you had through all of that, they didn't help with those things, or did you go against best, kind of what they said?
They really, 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 really did their best. But I was spending because I just aloof. I'm like, it's gonna come in. Like, all you need is another hit video. Like, whatever, right. Eventually, and they're like, like, you are spending too much. You got one nanny, you have two assistants, and you're living above your means. And my daughter's taking Chinese lessons and Spanish. I'm like, she's 2. They're like, you don't need. I'm like, yes, she does. I'm like, how many languages do the Trump children know? She's got to be. I'm what and she went from that to ass hungry. I'm like, if we could just focus on English at this point, because wow. Yeah. I'm like, she's been with me, every day since COVID. And I'm like, we done lost a few languages and we barely know English. So I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, so the management was trying. I was not listening because I had money. People still like, hey, GloZell, wherever. You're like, so it's going to come in. It's going to come in. It's going to come in. I'm funny. People love me. It's not going to happen to me. I've heard these stories before. It wasn't going to happen to me, but hello. I met with the president at the White House. How am I supposed to be broke?
Yeah, that's a big one that not a whole lot of people can throw on the resume. And that was that 2015 or 2016? Yeah. That's the thing. You were the envy of every entertainer and every journalist at that time. Within that scenario, in that brief window, everybody in those games wanted to be you.
And I felt great. I was on top of the world. And my family, the manager was telling you, like, you're spending a lot of money. I'm like, it's not as much coming in. I'm like, oh no, I just did not hear that. And then they have to get paid. So they have to go because they weren't getting paid, So you can't blame the management for leaving because they have to live too. Yeah. So that's what happened. So everything went phew. And I'm just like, hold on, just hold on. I'm going to my 10th psychic. They said it's going to be all right, but people have to eat now. So there you go.
And Kevin,
you get caught up. Like, I'm lighting candles. I'm doing everything. It's just like, but and just like that, you're like, YouTube not gonna do that to me. I'm an OG. Flip that switch. Flip. Do you hear me?
And that switch flipped for Kevin. I mean, the algorithm stuff back in that day, that had a tremendous effect on you and also virtually everybody you knew. So
yeah.
what happened with you on that?
I'm wondering if the algorithm switch that affected your channel so badly, GloZell, had to do with the watch time once they started weighting that so heavily. Maybe that's what affected me, is because for years I was making videos that were in the 4 to 5 minute range.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at some point they started really, really heavily weighting watch time. So the longer videos, those 10-minute videos, that's when those 10-minute, 12-minute videos started becoming regular. And yeah, same thing happened on Vsauce too. You know, I went from getting a million views on everything to, oh, this one only got 900,000. Oh well. Oh, this one only got 800,000. Oh well. All the way down to, oh, this is stuck at 250,000. Like,
Right.
this is a big drop. Like, what's happening? I need to start making different content. And, you know, that's what happened. I just stopped making those shows that weren't doing well and started figuring out how to make different videos that hopefully would be treated better in the algorithm. But was that a similar experience for you? Where
That was a similar
around that
experience
time,
for me.
like 5 years ago, maybe
Yes, and then also
4 years
it
ago?
was, they used to have like the first page of YouTube. Like you have videos, and now you have people who pay to be on the front of YouTube. Like if you type in YouTube videos, what comes up? What used to come up, GloZell will come up, you know.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot of paid stuff that comes up, and that, you know, hey, you can't knock it when the game changed. The game changed. However, I thought I was still, I had to be all the way at the bottom before I realized, okay, you've got to change up. So you did mention taking off the lipstick. I've done that, and now I feel like, because now I'm like, you just want to let go. I feel like, I don't know. There's the celebrities who are known for one thing, and then they don't ever want to touch it again. I was there. I was like, forget it, you know. And now I'm at the point, I'm like, I can wear it sometimes. I'm doing an interview. People want to see it, and that's great. I don't wear it all the time, and I don't dislike it. There was a point where, you just mad at, trying to figure it out. Like, but I'm gonna bring it back to the Singleton Foundation. If you make 2 cents, you need to know where it's going. If you're making 2 cents and you spend it $5, that's where I was.
The math is going to bite you.
Maxing out credit cards because I'm trying to keep up this lifestyle, because I know that the money's going to come. All you need is that hit, like a drug. I just need that hit. Anybody gonna give that buy hit again? Maybe President Obama, you want me to interview him? Come on, Barack, come on, Michelle. I'll take Michelle. Where's the dog? Bo? Anybody?
Oh, so if it's 2010 then, or 20, let's see, when did you, was it 2009, or is that when you really exploded? I'm trying to remember which year that was.
Let's see, I started 2005, 6, 7, 8, around, yeah. I have some good staying power. So and even now, like, people know, like, I have the most recognizable face. And voice, because, like, I have no weave on, I have a mask, and I'm like, okay, so how much is that? At the grocery store, be like, GloZell, recognize me. Gracious, I'm trying to get this stuff on sale, and you gonna, like, the worst was the laundromat. Like, can I put my drawers in the washing machine before we take this picture? And somebody sleep in the corner, like, I'm with GloZell, and there's somebody, just going around in circles in the back because they out their mind. I'm like, I'm just trying to wash my clothes, And
you got to keep an eye on the clothes, because there's got to be some value when GloZell's not looking. You go and steal those underwear, and you've got GloZell's underwear.
Yes, and someone stole my car this year, and I was just like, do you think I can get them up? I'm going to blow it up, because you're doing me a favor. You blow it up. You be doing me a favor. Don't bring it back perfect, because I got to pay for it, so there was just all kinds of craziness where you are. But if you keep going, I can see why. You hear about celebrities who kill themselves, or they're just doing rehab, and I'm like, I never understood that. I'm like, you have everything. You're white and you're rich and you're cute. I don't get it. I get it. I get it. Because you have so much, and people want something from you. Don't think that someone is talking to you just to be talking to you. It's like, well, maybe you can shout out my new this or my new that, or my, it's just like, wow. And then you're not who they think you are, because you're not who you used to be. And it's a lot. It plays with your mind. So I can see where people do that. So if you can get in charge of your finances, when you can, there's millions of stories on the Singleton Foundation website that you can listen to. And a lot of us are celebrities, and you thinking that it's never going to happen to you. But I had all my eggs in one basket. So now, spread it out and slowly building up my credit. I almost have three numbers. So that's good.
If we roll back to that 2009-ish era, the checks are starting to come in.
Yes.
They're pretty good.
They're very
what
good.
does 2020 GloZell, who's now in 2009, what does she do differently when those checks start coming in?
Oh, well, okay. First of all,
how would you have played it?
How would I play it different now?
Yeah.
Like,
if you knew then what you know now, what would you have done?
Oh, well, I wouldn't have put, leeches in my vagina. I could have lived without that.
It took you a decade to learn that?
That's
what you learned 10 years later.
There's thousands of dollars you did not need to spend.
That's what you'd use your time machine for.
Do my time machine to first of all, there's this spread it around to know that don't keep everything, because everything was hinging on YouTube. YouTube wasn't going anywhere. I just didn't see how it could go anywhere. I mean, it would go up and down because here comes Vine and Snapchat and other things. But still, YouTube always had its staying power. And Vine came, it was huge, and that left. But I never thought about that. So I think that definitely know where my money's going and keep some. But I was like, I didn't have to keep any because it was always coming in. And even now, from things that I've done, checks come in, but there was so much in debt. Like once you get it, you just
right.
And I was like, are you saving anything? Are you saving? I'm like, I'm saving my soul. I'm trying not to trick on the streets. Like, you don't understand? Like, I don't know how much I would get. But anywho, that's, you just, your mind just like, I just wonder. Like, I see. No. So,
That kind of boom and bust, though. I mean, a lot of people do that off YouTube. Anybody who has kind of a freelance anything can go through that. There's a period where you're just killing it and you have all the clients you can handle and your prices are going up and you can afford everything and just life is amazing. And then you get, through no fault of your own most of the time, this weird doldrums. You're in a desert and it's just not there. So this kind of thing happens. And I went through that myself several times. I mean, Kevin and I have known each other for a long, long time. And he's witnessed me go through boom and bust and do something new and boom and bust for all sorts of different reasons. And my rationale then was, well, I can always make more money, which is true. I can always make more money, but at a certain point, you kind of get tired of the reinvent. It's really hard.
You tired. I'm like, I'm tired. And, you have friends, people that you kind of been taking care of, that's been around, so you've got this, you don't want to let people down. I don't want to let my management down. I want to be able to pay the nanny on time. I want to pay the assistant on time. That thank you for doing this and this and this, and you just can't. If it's not there, it's just not there. So yes, I am tired. So I definitely don't want to put everything in one basket. I can't do that. There's new people coming up. There's new things coming up all the time, and that's great. But I don't want to have to fight for the piece of the pie. That's okay. You have that. I'm going to try this cake over here. I'm going to do different things. I get it now. And I would encourage other people to do that. But I see the crash and burn with the younger ones. So I hope they listen. I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening to this program. I hope you go to the Singleton Foundation and listen to the stories, and they're entertaining. And
they are.
We're just letting you know, like the craft services really helped me. I'm sure there's plenty of people like, GloZell don't took everything. She's so ghetto. No, I needed that. Thank you. You know how much
all those stories are different, but they're all the stories are different because everybody's path and circumstances are different. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're kind of all the same. It's kind of like how Law and Order episodes are always a different plot, but it's always the same goddamn
That's true.
episode, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
you love
yes.
it. You're still watching season 23 like it's the most amazing thing in the world. But yeah, the common themes are just through everybody's kind of creative process and journey with this stuff. Every freelancer type, every entrepreneurial type. We have a bunch of conversations with people who do more traditional business stuff offline, and they go through that same issue. They think sales are going to be banging forever. Well, things happen,
And now
and
COVID
sometimes
has hit.
things, exactly. And
people who never thought, that's not even in the entertainment business or what. Well, you in it somehow. If you're in California, it's affecting you somehow.
Right.
Things are shut down and closed down, and we're gonna have another lockdown, I believe, because we never really quite did it all the first time, and so it's like, what are you gonna do? You need to have a plan. Everybody does. Save for that rainy day. This is it. How long is this going to last? There's a lot of people.
I think,
yeah,
especially in the entertainment industry in particular, though, because tastes change so rapidly. Where the number one musician is the number one musician for how long? I mean, very few musicians last more than a couple of albums, really. That list is incredibly short.
Right.
There's a long list of people who have one-hit wonders and they're hot for a little bit, but then they dry up, and it's like that in all of entertainment. So,
yes.
People should be kind of used to it by now. The entertainment industry has been sort of the same for decades, but it's still like all of us learn this lesson all over again from scratch for some reason.
That's true.
Is there a point though? Mm-hmm. Is there a point where it can be kind of too conservative on the approach? So like, money does start coming in, things are good. If you save every penny on that, well, maybe you aren't going out and doing some of the things that do advance your career. Maybe you're not maximizing it. How do you decide where that line is? Because it really can be suboptimal to just kind of squirrel everything away. Is there a point at which you're really, really kind of saving and investing and making smart decisions, but also enjoying yourself because you did work hard to get there? You've got to have this pay off in some way. Where's the blend there?
That's true. At this point, when I felt like I could have bought a house 2 or 3 times and I don't have one now, I will be more, I have to be more conservative because now I have a child, then COVID hit.
Sure,
yeah. She doesn't have a yard, we can't go anywhere. And I'm like, mommy could have had this, you could have had a house here, a house over there. And so that is, I will have fun, but it won't be like when 10 years ago fun. No, you don't need to do all that. You invite me to the party, I'm gonna come there, take my pictures, and I'm coming home. But that's what I'm gonna do. But invite me. But I'll show up, do my pictures. I'll be the first one going home. Yes.
GloZell, what percentage of people do you think that are showing up to these parties or are showing up to these events are also kind of dealing with a little bit of that imposter syndrome that you were, where you were putting on this face of uber success, but at the same time, like pocketing cookies because you didn't have anything to eat at home? I
want to say almost all of them, because if it hasn't hit them, there's a fear, It's a fear because it's going to come. A lot of them they're getting younger and younger. See, I started older. They're getting younger and younger. I believe that there is, because you got a lot of fame coming at you and you're young, there's not like, when after I've finished school or this trade, like you can unwrap boxes of toys and you got millions a hit at 8, 9, 10 years old. You think that's going to last forever? So I think a lot of people have that imposter syndrome because you're just trying to still stay on top. It's always once you get the hit, it's like, oh no, the next one's got to be just as big, and it's not. It might be the next 10, might be the next year. It might not ever come again. So
you've seen by this point. Yeah, you've seen by this point, everybody, like literally from the most powerful person in the world all the way down. What percentage of people you've met over a pretty long career, what percentage of those people do you think are doing it right on the financial side?
Oh, Well, I know and I'm not gonna name names that you were like, I'm like broke as a joke, honey. Bruh don't have no money, or she don't have no money. You see him on TV all the time doing this. I'm like, asking me for $20. I'm like, $20? You better count this change with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and you just like, because a lot of things don't pay. Just because you're on television, you're doing your talk shows or your radio thing. Like, how much y'all paying me? Okay, it's silence. Okay, I'm just saying that, you do a lot of things and people see you out there and they're thinking that somehow, or you get like, oh, you did this and now you bringing me a ham. Or you're like, oh, I'm getting paid and I've got M&Ms with my face on it. Like the landlord don't care. Do you understand that the landlord don't care? I was literally in Vanity Fair and the notice that you have to evacuate came the same day. Do you think the landlord cared I was in Vanity Fair? He didn't care. He didn't care. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I'm just letting you know.
So virtually nobody is doing this right.
Well, I guess Susie Orman, I don't know. No, like, even at that, like if she was doing bad, if somebody who's doing finances was doing something bad, you can't let people know. So you've got to fake it that you're still doing good. You know what I'm saying? So it's all smoke and mirrors. Take care of yourself, be happy, enjoy the journey. Because once you get there, when they say it's lonely at the top, it's lonely at the top. And because people will leave you. They will leave you because they don't have what you have, or they will leave you because you don't have what you have.
And did that happen for you? Like we talked about the management dipping out, but what about, socially and all that? Did people drop off that radar?
Yes, they did drop off. And some things made it easier because it's like, I was the one that was paying when we went out every Thursday or when we went to this or that, and I wanted to do that. Like, I have no problem. I am a giver, but when I couldn't do that, then I guess, I guess we won't go. Oh, you can't spend it. Or, well, we'll take my car, So you're using my gas. You turn on my air conditioner. And I get in your car, like, why we sweating? Why we can't get no AC? Like, why you rolling down the window? Like, I need some air too. So it's just not the same. This is true. Like,
did some of those people come back as actually no scratch that who stuck with you? That's what I want to know. Who stuck around and like what type of person were they?
Who stuck around? Well, I have a friend that I've known forever and ever, through thick and thin. I haven't even been the best of best friends to her, and but she happens to be a therapist, so maybe she's like, okay, I understand that GloZell's going crazy right now. Leslie Miranda, shout out to her. I've known her for over 20 years. She's been great. My friend Sherry Hadley, she was in the movie Coming to America. That's what she's most known for, but she's done a lot of work. And and she really understood, like, here she is in this movie with Eddie Murphy and doing all these things, and people assume that you have so much. And we were like getting cans and stuff together, going to the recycling, like we were doing all kinds of stuff. So she understood, and it stood this test of times. And there was times like I don't have it, I don't have rent, I don't know. And she's like, well, I got you, And then there's times that I was able to, like, I got $50, you can have half, you can do. So Sherry Hadley, my friend Leslie Miranda, and then there's been some new people to show up. Like, there's been people who showed up like, I don't have anything, I don't know what GloZell you expecting. This, I can't offer you what I want to offer you. I want to pay the bills. I want to be the big shot. I want to do that, but I'm not that person. I can't do it right now. And you're still there. My boyfriend, Gus, he's so sweet. He paid for my divorce lawyer. It's so sweet. It's so nice. Good. So, yes. Well, my husband don't like my boyfriend. Okay. All right. So that's a whole nother thing. I'm in an entanglement, as Jake does say. So those people who, and another young lady, and her name is Lon, who entered my life when it was at the bottom, and like, okay, well, I'll help you out now. And my friend Deanie, and I know that a part of them is like, she's gonna make it again. Like, you have that much faith. Like, it's not like I'm just giving to you just so to be, because you're just never gonna be anything again. So I like to think of it as somewhat of an investment, and at least it helped me go, these people believe in me. I'm not going to let them down, So, and they'll pop up different places, I'm at a grocery store and like, oh, yeah, GloZell. Oh, but here's a discount. Thank you. You don't know. Like that's, what's his name? Garth Brooks said it best. I got friends in low places because I'm at the low places. When you can get a discount at the 99-cent store. Girl, thank you. Girl, what you talking about? Thank you. The craft services next week and keep their nuts.
So what does the refresh look like? What is GloZell 2.0, the rebrand, the relaunch? Like, what are you thinking in terms of YouTube and other things?
Well, I definitely what GloZell looks like is a little bit of old and a little bit of new. So there's new characters, new things, because my audience has grown up and I've grown up. Now I'm still, there's a video I want to do where I dance around in a watermelon, but otherwise there's still some mature stuff that there's coming out. Also, I'm in a movie that will be on the Ion Network where there's no green lipstick. I play a nanny. I have a degree, a BFA in musical theater from the University of Florida. Go Gators! But the YouTube thing took off, and I didn't get a chance to explore my chops, so to speak. So that and Trolls is doing the television show. I was in the movie, the television show, so I get to voice my character again there. So there's some things coming up that are outside of YouTube. A part of me is like that chick, even though like she was you need to get out that relationship, but you just dedicated. Like I love YouTube. Like YouTube was there when, you too big, you too tall, you too fat, doing auditions for television, and I found an audience, and the audience doesn't care what your religion is, what your ethnic, they don't care. The kids just want to laugh. There's I'm a big kid at heart. And so I have a love for YouTube. So they changed whatever, but my audience found me there and they still find me there. And I have a love for YouTube, but I'm branched out. I have to, because I have to live and take care of my daughter.
We talked a bit about that. Kevin and I have talked recently off the podcast, just the two of us, about some of those kind of the accepting environment, right? That you can find an audience. It doesn't matter who you are, what your qualifications are. We've seen this very push for people on degrees in higher education and this and that. And you know what? I can tell I know very few of the YouTubers. I can't name where or if they went to college. Right. I can't. I don't know. I don't know if they live in a city or a small town. Right. All I know is that they make a thing, and I like that thing, or I don't. Where they're really cool. I want to see everything from them. I don't check anybody's resume.
Right. You don't go,
nobody knows.
What? You only have a bachelor's. I'm not watching you. No one cares.
It's insane. And so you've got this place where you can go do your thing, yes, whether it's being yourself or whether it's inventing a character. Who cares? It doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
It's there. Yeah, it's there to pretty much find other people who like it. And that's huge. I mean, that's such a tremendous opportunity. And the fact that now it can actually be monetized properly, when you started and when Kevin started, I don't think AdSense was even a thing at the beginning, was it?
No, they were sponsoring like a whole channel, not like each, you can have this video monetized and this one's not. And this one, it wasn't like that at all. AdSense wasn't like that at all. And it's changed. So there we go. So you're counting on brand deals. You're counting on someone to see you out, and use you outside of just this. And you don't know what to put all your time in. Like, oh, is Instagram going to stay around? Okay, good. It seems like it's staying around. Is Twitter going to stay around? Is Snapchat? What happened to Periscope? There was something called Keek. Vine was huge, and now that's gone. Facebook is like, yeah, but are you going to pay people? They are. My grandma's sitting on Facebook. She ain't paying nothing. So.
And it was like that with TikTok. We talked just an episode or two ago about, TikTok blows up. How much effort do you put into that? Is it going to return anything at all? Does it matter to have an audience of what we all think are like 15-year-old kids? Is that going to play out at all? Who knows? But you have to take those gambles along the way as things change. And then you get the things completely beyond your control, like the TikTok sale. Everybody has been freaking out about what they've built on TikTok. Right. Nobody could have seen that coming. Nobody could have seen that coming. Nobody could see the COVID stuff coming. No. All of this stuff turns on a dime. The switches just flip. It's like a gigantic switchboard playing tricks on us. And there's a monkey in there like slapping at all the switches. Who knows? Who knows? But somehow you've got a plan. You have to plan for crazy.
You have to plan for crazy. And if you keep your mind right. So whatever it is that you can let off some steam, whether it is you're exercising or you just go sit quietly or whatever, because when you're like, your world has just changed, you just, and you don't know who you are. You thought you knew, you want to just, you just like, life is over. So what's the point? So you have to have a strong mind. I say that to everybody because fame can come like this and then go away like that, just as quick. You have all these people who want to be around you. Like I saw so many GloZells for Halloween, and then you're just like, nobody cares this year, so you go through all of that. So love yourself and figure out what it is that makes you happy. And if it's making you happy, it doesn't matter about everything else as long as you're not hurting nobody. I mean, even the Kardashians are ending their show. What? Who thought that? What is going on in 2020?
I don't know. We just need some mental health leeches, I think, to suck out the bad mojo from your brain. Before we transition to questions, one thing I really wanted to ask you, because you're such an OG on YouTube, I would just love your thoughts on how YouTube has changed. Not necessarily even just uploading, but like the type of content, the people, perhaps the people that you knew from back then that maybe are still around but aren't still around. Just overall, like, how do you feel like YouTube has changed in the last, say, 5 years?
A lot has changed. I feel like the old person, like, what are these kids doing these days? Like, or the musicians that go like, the music was better in my day. But I feel like we had more substance, but it doesn't matter because you watch what you like. There's an audience for everything. But there seems to be more violence, more negativity, things like. I never cursed. I always kept mine light. But they're trying to monitor stuff there at YouTube, but it's a wild, wild west. And now, especially during COVID, everybody can do a show. So it's really saturated with people who I don't know, that need to focus on something else. So I think it's changed because there's some quality, but there's a lot of crazy out there, and I think people are going more for the hurt, the pranks, the joke that's costing, like the girl in the relationship or the guy in the relationship, and that's his own type of humor. But that doesn't last. So I think that's how it's changed. So
yeah,
and I have a lot of
do
friends
feel the
that
negativity bit.
My Joey and Colleen Miranda sings, and let's see, I'm drawing a blank, but there's the Rebecca. I'm calling everybody by the first name, so I don't even like, what is your last name? But there's so a lot of people would stay in power, but it's changing where people are branching off and becoming parents and doing their own different things. We have to quiet. Chirp, chirp. Hello.
I was waiting for Matt to chime in because,
but not answering that question. Is that?
Yeah, I was thinking about just like 20 minutes ago when you talked about being paid in ham. God, I would love that. I would love that. Oh. If I could be paid in ham or pork, just straight up. Yes. I would actually prefer it. And so the moment you said that, I've just been locked in on that, thinking, how do I renegotiate my contract?
Been here this whole time thinking about ham, but I've been paid, and like, we'll offer you this food, and so many beauty products and things work that way because it's like, oh, you have an audience. And I'm so thankful for my audience for staying there, because you would think that, like, why are you trying to figure out what you're going to do, that numbers would drop, but they have been there. And they're just like, we're waiting for you. You're going to come back. And I appreciate it. And there's always a new audience. There's always younger kids and new people finding you. So thank you. I'm definitely Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm still there. And you do shout outs. Those are amazing. Since COVID, you can't go anywhere. Hi, happy birthday, happy anniversary. Oh, you're coming out. I've done them all. So it's all good.
Like Cameo? Are you on Cameo?
Yes. I am
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Cameo.
Okay.
Find me, GloZell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll pop the Cameo link in the description with
You're
the
so
others.
sweet.
You can
You're so
get yourself
kind.
a
Yeah,
GloZell Cameo.
because food is good. I'm just saying, I'm not reaching that high. I'm just gas and food. It's nice.
Paid in ham.
Paid in ham. Yeah.
Well, we've got some questions. Kevin, are we ready for that?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my bit of awkward silence earlier. Is I thought you were going to start with our questions from our patrons.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, the first one's actually a comment. This is from Base Weight, and it's about his wife Jaden. He said that Jaden said that your videos always put a smile on her face, and the challenge has always sparked fun times with her friends, including doing the cinnamon challenge with the group. And she just wanted to thank you for the laughs over the years.
Oh, that's so sweet. And that helped keep me going because I'm like, oh my gosh, people know who I am. They still remember. That's great. So thank you, Jaden. And your host.
Well, this question is actually fairly similar to that comment. So Marco, he asked, knowing what you've gone through at this point, from fame down to considering some basic necessities, he wants to know, what are the little things at this point that make you smile?
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Marco, for taking the time to ask a question. The little things that make me smile. Oh, well, it's a relief knowing that you can pay your bills. It's nice when you can go to the grocery store and you're not like, I hope this card works. There's somebody who just recognized me in the line, for the love, please. So it's things like that where you just like, I didn't ever look at how much things cost, whatever, blah, blah, that I'm like, I'm very thankful and I'm humbled, because I had a friend that brought over rice-a-roni. I was like, what? There been a time that I'm like, I didn't do rice. It's in a box. No, I was like, oh, thank you. This is great. So I am thankful to, like, even now I have the air, I can run the air, it's like, well, my baby's like, okay, well, all right, we can have some air now, we don't have to just go, well, let's go to the pool, then at the neighbors or someplace like that. So I'm thankful for the necessities that you need. You need gas in your car, you need food, you need decent soap and a good water, bread, buttermilk, those things that, you don't need a body filled with gold and leeches.
This makes me feel and sound old, but the 5th of the month is absolutely my favorite day because that is my bill paying day. Okay.
Oh.
And I wake up and take care of the monthly bills on the 5th, which sucks. I'm spending a ton of money and I hate this. Right. But at the same time, I remember what it was like to not be able to pay bills. And that was one of the worst feelings ever. And when you go to the mailbox and what's in it, and it's all stuff you can't pay, and it's getting worse. And so when I sit down and pay bills, oh my God, what a good feeling, because I'm just plain paying my bills. And it sounds weird, but it's one of the thrills of my life is to handle my bills on the 5th.
That is good. That is good. I'm still getting out of like taxes that I owe, like that kind of, because those kind of things, it's like we got to eat. So tax, whatever, I can't focus on that part. But now I'm getting to the point that I'm okay, let me start a plan, let me do this and do that. And paying the bills is essential. And you just, there's not going to be another notice on my door. Because there was a time where every time I'm like, I go up to my door, I'm like, oh, how many people saw this? Oh my goodness.
It's dread, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
it's just a weird dread.
Dreadful. It's not like they put it in the corner. It's like right there in the middle of your door,
under the welcome mat.
Like, yeah, can you just hide it? I mean, you didn't have to be doing me like that. It's just basically, they ain't got no money. You ain't got no money. So.
I understand you need your money, but did you have to put a neon sign on the door? Yeah.
I know, like with lights and with the guy going like this, like you don't have to do all that.
You have to hire that guy to flip the sign outside of the building.
You didn't have to do all that. That little carrot thing that's like, you didn't have to put that in front of my door. So
yeah, the wavy used car thing. I don't know what you call that. The inflatable man that flops around. Yeah.
Yes.
So So Isaac asks, he wants to ask about the Escape the Night appearance. So Isaac actually, he worked on that escape room, right? So he was on set with you and said that you were lovely in every possible way. And he wanted to know, did that have an impact on your channel's viewership?
Okay, Escape the Night was amazing. And anything you do with, I always get his name, Joey Gristafa. And who I love and I'm known forever, and he's just a cutie pie. Of course, yes. And I was working with my friends, and so it was great. The cast was great, and I enjoyed it very much, and it did. And I would love to come back because they had an All Stars at the time. I don't know if you could tell. I had broken my leg, and I was in a cast, and I didn't turn anything. I couldn't turn anything down. So so I'm out there, on like pain medication, getting thrown into a dungeon and in ditches and fighting and everything. So yeah, I would love to do that again, especially when I could walk in no pain. And I think it was great. So I would love to do that again. I enjoyed myself and it was great fun. And I'm glad it's still going. It's a hit show on YouTube Red.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac.
Yeah, that's awesome. Patrick had a question about meeting some people too. He said, do you still communicate with people like Lamar Wilson and Andre Meadows, even though the on-camera collaborations aren't happening at this point?
Thank you, Patrick, for asking a question, because I just thought about Lamar and no, when you go into survival mode and you're trying to figure out your life, you really become like all about you. And I'm like, I hope he's still posting videos. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. But people cross your mind and you wish them well, and for the most part, that's when you need to reach out when you think of them. But you just in so big of a hole, and people thought so much of you, and then they ask you how you doing. Like, well, I can't eat. I'm trying to do this, and somebody tried to take a picture of me with my drawers at the laundromat, and so you kind of avoid folks that really know you. Cause you kind of know you because they're gonna ask questions like, "How you doing?" And they really can't help. You got to help yourself get out of this. But and Andre, I hope that they're well, but I don't know. I haven't kept up with those two in particular.
Patrick had another one that was really good. We usually, we try to balance things out and not give somebody 19 questions, but this one's so good we got to throw it in. The work that you mentioned that's off YouTube, Trolls, Wedding Ringer, the Trolls TV show, right? You're into all of the traditional media now too. And how do you feel about the relationship between the old school media and the new school content creators, like how you came up? Or do you think that you're treated with the same level of respect on set? Is there a different kind of community vibe? How does that feel?
How does that feel? Thank you again, Patrick. It feels great because there's nothing better than joining something and they already know who you are. I didn't audition for Trolls. They came to me. The Wedding Ringer was the same way. And also Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, and the Emoji Movie. So those kind of things, it's like, oh, thank you. Thank you for the work that I've done. I've paid my dues and I get these kind of things. Now I'm auditioning. I'm excited one day to get something that I auditioned for, as opposed to GloZell has an audience. Let's give her a few lines. And then, she's advertising, the audience is there. That's fun. That's great. That I appreciate it so much. But I'm looking forward to auditioning and getting something that is completely, like, that's GloZell. Wow, let's give her an Emmy. That's amazing. I'm ready for I'm coming out. I'm ready. So
well, we've got a couple kind of rapid fire ones here, and then you're free. Then you're free. These are good though.
I'm like, good Lord, how long is this show? They don't have
7 hours. You're at 55 minutes, but you only have 6 hours and 5 minutes to go.
Shoot. Sounds good.
So Air Commander Andrew, Andrew wants to know, how did you find these crazy things like camel milk and leech therapy? Did you go out and stumble on these, or did people bring them to you and convince you, or what?
Okay, so the people, when you're around people, I don't want to say there's lower people than there's higher people, but you end up being in places where people are like, oh yes, and I only give my baby camel milk because of this and that and of all the nutrients. Then you're just like, camels have milk, well, I need some camel milk too. So then you're looking it up and like, oh yes, this is the brand and you want to have conversations with people that you don't normally have. Like, why am I talking about camel milk? I'm from Florida. No, we milk, milk things. So yeah. So it's brought up to me. How you search? Like, what animal might get milked? Like, no. So you're in the circle and people are like, oh, you need to try it. Have you tried camel milk, by the way, you too?
No, I haven't had camel milk. Oh, actually, no.
What
you
does
know
it taste
what?
like?
I did. I had it as a base in like a mango lassi. It was weird, and I would not repeat. I've had camel cheese, and that works a little better. But the milk, I would not repeat that. No.
See, a lot of people haven't had camel cheese. So
yeah.
I mean, there's breast milk cheese. There's there's all kinds of bizarre things. When you tried everything that's regular, you just then things, and those things become normal to you. That's why you always got to check yourself. You need to be with what you call regular people. But what happens is you go up and you let go of the people who keep you grounded because they're not into camel milk, and this is where I am. Like, you just drinking cow. So we, deuces, and now you up there drinking cow, talking to aliens. You just out in the crazy world. Because that's what people tell.
What I'm hearing is that in Meet the Parents, Robert De Niro said you can milk anything with nipples, Greg.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you should, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Do you milk the teats of a cat?
I wish the people who will listen to this on audio could have seen the little tiny milking motion that we just witnessed. So Lars from the first podcast, he wants to know that if you were offered $2 billion, would you spend the next 4,300 years as a series of ducks?
Yes. You said billion?
Absolutely yes.
Quack, quack, mother. Yes, quack,
$2 billion.
Quack, 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 quack. What kind of duck you want me to be? A mallard?
Question.
I can be a mallard. I can be Donald. I could be.
I do wonder. Yeah, I do wonder how you'd spend some of that money as a duck.
Well, I'm thinking that I leave it to my daughter because I'm a duck. Like, what? She gets to be human still, right? And so I'm thinking, yes, give me my money. I will quack, 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 quack. That's a good challenge.
Duck supposed to be bad?
$2 billion. Yeah,
Seems fine.
Seems fine. And thank you for such a fun question.
I don't know what's
the last
wrong with
one
being
is
a duck.
It could be worse. Of all the animals you could be, a duck is not very low on the list. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Everybody likes ducks.
Can swim.
It can swim. It has feathers.
Going on.
Yeah. It has insurance. Aflac.
That's true.
It's covered. Those time I didn't have insurance.
This is the planning ahead that you were talking about.
There we go. Back
if
to
you
the Singleton
are
Foundation,
a duck,
you guys check that out,
plan.
please, so you can listen to these stories and do better with yourself. Okay.
Yeah, and we will put links into the audio description, the YouTube description, all those things, because we want people to go check out what they have to offer, listen to some of those other stories as well.
But
there's a lot there. Right. Play 11 or 12 times. Play GloZell stuff first, and then switch over. Yeah.
There is face plant and millions of stories. So there's plenty of that for you there. But make sure you go to mine because I'm the one talking right now.
Yep.
Okay.
Last one's a quickie. This is from Jeff, who consumes hot sauce and hot peppers at a clip that's got to be unhealthy. We love Jeff. We just don't know. Yeah, it's scary. It's a superpower. How Jeff hasn't burned a hole through his sternum from his consumption of hot things is mind-blowing to me. And so he wants to know, what's your favorite spicy food or hot pepper?
I did a hot pepper challenge, and it's like over 50 million because you know what? I almost died. People are like, oh, she almost died. That is so funny. And it was a cute little pepper. Like, it looked like a cherry. Like, who knew it was going to be that hot? And so I didn't have any water or anything around. So I'm like, I'm dying. So I'm letting you know, like, he might not have burned his esophagus or whatever you call it, your snuffleupagus. But I'm telling you, on the way out, he don't burn something. Like, it will come out the other. Honey, you don't tell me. If you don't feel it no more, then it's just gone. It's just, it's just no anus, just burnt up, just gone. So sorry for you. You got to plug it up some other kind of way. I don't know how to tell you that, but
that does not sound medical advice. Not at all, I don't think. Before we let you go, we'd love to ask all of our guests, because everybody that we speak with is so creative. We love to give them a creative prompt. So if you wouldn't mind, on the spot, just inventing an ad read. It could be for anything. Let's pretend like this episode is sponsored by whatever you want it to be sponsored by. You can make it up right now, and you can hawk it for us for our imaginary sponsor on the Create Unknown by GloZell. Go ahead.
This episode was brought to you by camel grease. Camel grease is so good to plug up any kind of hole that's been burned through from pepper eating. So if you have burned this like transcendent colon, ascending colon, descending colon up with a bunch of peppers, let me tell you, get you some camel grease. Right now, it is good. It's smooth. It smells good. It's amazing. I guess you just digest it and just let it rub itself on through and come on out the other side. Now, nice and smooth. And you can eat peppers all day long because it just slide on out. The seeds and everything. Thank you so very much. Oh, that is camel grease for your hole.
Oh my gosh. That was probably the best one we've had. Does that come in a 24 karat gold bottle or no?
It comes in a jar, like just an easy payment of $19.99, and you can put it on continuous payments. That will be good for 1 week, and you just keep going. Keep buying it. If you're going to keep eating peppers, you need your camel grease for your hole.
And is there a leech at the bottom like the worm in tequila?
There you go.
Yeah. Just a little bit of camel hair at the bottom of the jar.
Just a little.
GloZell, this was a long time coming. I feel like you and I have probably been at the same parties at VidCon over the years.
Oh, yes, VidCon.
Never, I'm sure, just never ran into each other. So it's a pleasure to finally get to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to all of our patrons for hanging out.
Yes, it had better. Yeah, everybody's excited for it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all so many people talk about is just getting excited for 2021 VidCon, so we can all finally get together and hang out and just relax for a few days.
Yes. It's so nice.
See. Yeah. So hopefully we will see you there, and you check out all of GloZell's links. We will link you guys to everything.
Thank you.
She's back. She is back. We are all on the GloZell train.
Love you.
Thanks again to our patrons. If you want to become a patron and join us for these live recordings, just go to patreon.com/thecreateunknown. And until then, we will see you, Space Cowboys.